Anybody else wake up every day and kind of look around and go, really hope I'm not going to bump into Roman Reigns, because if I say or do the wrong thing, he may actually murder me where I stand. I mean, the big dog has gone proper loopy in the head, but my word, what a great wrestling character. And that is one of the things we are going to talk about today, because my name is Simon Miller. Welcome to WhatCulture Wrestling, and WWE had another little show last night. It was called SmackDown. I'm sure you've seen it at least once in your life, and then moaned about it online, and then still continued watching it. It's just what we do, but let's finally decide whether it was a good show or a bad show by taking this. It's called the Finger of Power, the FOP, and we give the good bits an up, and we give the bad bits a down. It's just a nice, fun little gimmick. Let's up those downs for SmackDown. Well, Jey Uso is completely gone. He's brainwashed, he's ruined, he has been owned. Because he came out here to start SmackDown, he got a microphone and he went, I just want everybody to know Roman Reigns is the best, Roman Reigns is the tribal chief, Roman Reigns is everything. WWE wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for Roman Reigns. And I know we were all celebrating and saying goodbye to The Undertaker, but who cares when we've got the head of the table who is alive and kicking ass right now. Then just as he was introducing Roman, the big dog interrupted him, and I was like, oh no, I am so scared. Because Roman rolled the footage from Survivor Series between Team Raw and Team SmackDown, and he couldn't have been any more pissed off. This wasn't your mum being disappointed with you because she caught you smoking. This is like your dad learning that you mugged an old woman and just thinks you are the most disgusting human being on the planet. The sheer anger and shame that Reigns felt, even I started to feel a little bad. Didn't even care that Uso had come out during the main event versus Drew McIntyre to help him because he had told Jey to go home. And because Team SmackDown lost, it means that nobody respects Roman, and now he has shame on him. I mean, that was quite the leap. He sounded like an absolute loon. No, wait. No, he didn't. Roman Reigns, we love you. You the head of the chief dog. Please don't kill me. Compared it to somebody begging for Thanksgiving leftovers, because of course this week it was Thanksgiving, and that's just what WWE does. And then he and Paul Heyman walked away and left Jey Uso in the ring like an absolute wreck. And can you blame him? If anybody had gone through this, they probably would have just collapsed on the floor. All of this is great though, it just makes so much sense, it connects show to show, everybody understands their characters and is playing it wonderfully. I am having a jolly good time on my spaceship of fun. And it really did leave Jey an absolute mess as well, because Otis was then coming out for his match against Baron Corbin, and Uso, he just couldn't handle it. So he got a chair and he attacked Otis, but he didn't just beat him up a little bit, he walloped him and probably took him out the game for around about 78 years. And you'd have to figure that within Jey Uso's head, he was doing this to Roman Reigns, but he can't attack Roman Reigns. Do you see the layer of depths we've got here? Unfortunately, we then stepped into a DeLorean and went back to the future, or in this case, we went back to the past. Down. Because Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode were here, aka Rudolph, and they just went, hey, we would really like to have a match against the tag team champions known as the Street Profits. And because I'm a nerdy fan, I sat there on my sofa and I went, wait. You guys, ever since you came back, have lost every match. Why the hell would this be greenlit? And you know what happened? It got greenlit. But I mean, we just need a little bit more time and a little bit more depth for the tag team division. At the moment, it's like you're one of those playground roundabouts. Look at me go. And we just go round and round and round, but we actually never move forward. I'm getting dizzy. What I will say, though, is that the match was good. This is kind of WWE's whole deal at the moment too. People just fight because they look at each other and go, fancy having a wrestling match? And the other people go, yeah, that sounds really good. But when they get in the ring, they absolutely smash it because the roster, pretty much from top to bottom, are all incredible pro wrestlers. But imagine all of this was given the same kind of love that Roman Reigns gets. And don't go, well, we can't do that for everyone. Of course we can. That's the whole point of writing stories. I think it would make a lovely splash. I would also like it if WWE stopped doing surprise roll-ups. That will surprise nobody who watches Ups and Downs every single week. But if you want Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler to win, just have them win. They can hit their move, whatever that is. Maybe it's called Santa's sleigh, I have no clue. And just let them get a dominant 1, 2, 3 fit. At least that would make more sense. But yes, after Dolph Ziggler had caught some nonsense on the outside, Bobby Roode used the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, and he pinned Montez Ford to 1, 2, 3. So now they didn't really win, but they still get a tag team title shot, because that's what we do every single time. So yes, bring down the board, there it is. That is number 96. 4 to go, my friends. And let's face it, when we get to 100, we should probably just draw a line under it I think I've proved my point. I do love Daniel Bryan though. I want you to know that he's getting it up. Because he was all getting ready for his fight with Sami Zayn later, but he doesn't want to fight Mr. Zayn because he's a delusional nutbag, which he is. He wants to fight Sami Zayn because Sami Zayn is in possession of the Intercontinental title, and to Daniel Bryan, that's a big deal. So you know what happened? Because Dan cared about the belt, all of a sudden, I cared about the belt. You see how that works? Why can I never do it? Bryan also mentioned that Jey Uso is a loon, and at the time I was like, well, why would he throw that in there? But boy, howdy does this get good. Baron Corbin was also then here, and he made the most sense of anybody in 2020. Because we were having a lovey-dovey segment with the whole Mysterio family as they just danced around the Christmas tree and praised how great Murphy was. Now look, Murphy is great, but he also tried to remove Rey Mysterio's eye. How on earth could you ever forgive that? And I was sat there going, oh, it's nice, you know, I like all of these people, but I really hope somebody comes into the screen and calls them on their BS. And then Baron did arrive and he said just that. He's like, what is going on here? Why have you accepted this Australian man into your kin? He did all this crazy stuff to you. I bet in 1 year's time, he ain't gonna be sitting around the Christmas tree. And I was like, Baron Corbin, you are absolutely smashing it. I just found it a little bit cathartic. I needed it to be said, and it got said, and now we can just lay it to rest. Also, fair play to Rey Mysterio. What a loving and giving man he is. I wouldn't have that forgiveness in me. And then it was Bryan versus Zayn. I mean, come on. Up. Zayn was being Zayn beforehand, saying, why should I have to compete so soon after an American holiday? And what has Daniel Bryan done to deserve any of this? And I was like, I think what we, the audience, deserve to know is why Apollo Crews doesn't even care that he basically got screwed over by Sami Zayn 7 days ago. I guess we do get a little bit of a payoff in around about 10 minutes, but it wasn't very good. Bryan just interrupted as otherwise Sami probably would have gone on forever, and he started focusing on Zayn's arm because, you know, Daniel Bryan's a really good technical wrestler. And then our Intercontinental Champion just booted the yes man right in the face, and I said, yeah, that'll do it. I then went into dad mode because Bryan not only missed a crossbody on the outside and went careering into the barricade, but then, close your eyes, pretend it didn't happen, Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan got on the apron and he gave him a brainbuster on the hardest part of the ring. I was like, Daniel, what are you doing? You have a really bad head and he doesn't need my concern, but he's getting it all the same. Zayn thought he was gonna win via counter, which of course is his brand new gimmick, and he hit Daniel Bryan with 2 thunder bombs, or I say 2, on the second one he tried, but Daniel Bryan then reversed that into the yes lock. It was truly wonderful. And then as for the finish, well, at first it did make me go, huh, because Daniel Bryan went for 1 suicide dive and he nailed it and threw Sami Zayn back in the ring. Sami Zayn then rolled out of the ring, so Daniel Bryan was like, okay, well I can do more than 1, and he hit him with another. It upset the champion so much though, he just ran to the back, and then somewhat stupidly, Daniel Bryan followed him. As the referee got to the count of 7, Sami Zayn then returned, he got on the ring, but Daniel Bryan was nowhere to be seen, and he got counted out. So I was shouting, well, where the hell was Daniel Bryan? What, did somebody talk to him about a special eco toilet and he wanted to buy one right there and then? And at the time, I had my finger of power and I was ready to point in the down direction, and then WWE pulled it out the bag. Why? Because we then cut to Bryan in the back and he was being beaten up by Jey Uso. And if you'd heard the noise I made when I realized this, you would never watch another one of my videos again, and you would probably never like me again either. But this is what I'm talking about, Jack. One wrestler made a comment about another wrestler, and it wasn't just left to die, and it wasn't just left out in the ether, meaning it meant nothing. Jey Uso had heard this, and he was like, fine, if you're gonna take jibes at me, I'm gonna come beat you up, and he did. Once again, Jey Uso looked crazy here, and it all just adds to his bonkers character. Because this is what I need in my wrestling, because it keeps me watching going, well, what the hell's gonna happen next? And a bunch of referees and Kevin Owens broke this up, but Kev was so annoyed, he followed Jey Uso, and in what has to be considered the most crazy thing of the whole year, he stood in front of the Reigns family, and he's like, you guys need to sort this shit out. I am sick and tired of all your problems affecting the roster. And if you think I'm afraid of you, Roman Reigns, you are wrong. And I was like, Kev, what the hell you doing, man? What the hell you doing? They're gonna find your body under some concrete, and Roman will even go, yeah, I did it. And the police will like, well, let you off, Roman, please. Head of the table. No one gonna mess with him. And then we set some more stuff up. Good. up. Because it was Bianca Belair versus commentary, but the real interesting part was that Bayley was on commentary. Now, if Bianca Belair had lost here, I probably would have taken my head and just shoved it down a toilet. I don't know what that would have achieved, but it may have just balanced things out and calmed me down, but WWE did the right thing. Well, almost. I mean, Bayley couldn't keep her nose out of it because she is Bayley, but that actually works because she's defined her character in this way, so when she does do nonsense, you're like, yeah, that's what Bayley does. So at one point, Bianca Belair just went and popped her right in the face. The only problem was the finish, because why WWE? Why? You're a creative organization. Why can't you come up with anything else? Because Bayley got on the apron, and Natty was like, why is a person on the apron? So Bianca Belair used the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment and got the 1, 2, 3. Bring it down. That is number 97, 3 to go, and you do not get away with 2-on-1 show is getting it down. But Bianca Belair is clearly the project right now. Natalya has lost more times than I've shaved my head. Why can't she just win with her big move? And I know she has a big move. I've seen it. She lifts people up and she throws them on the floor. It looks cool. But still, if we are going to move into Bayley versus Bianca Belair, that makes me feel all warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum, because that's a really good feud. And I would always take really good food. Paul Heyman was then talking to Adam Pearce, and that's never good. He was probably saying, look, here's what's going to happen. Roman Reigns is going to kill Kevin Owens, and you're going to be used as an alibi. And Adam Pearce is like, whatever you want, man, I'll do it. And then to tie into the confrontation we had earlier, it was Murphy versus Baron Corbin. And look, one, I actually thought this was really fun. It was a nice little match, but psychology-wise, it was absolutely baffling. Let me explain. Because as far as I know, I'm meant to dislike Baron Corbin and I'm meant to like Murphy. That's fine. That's how we create personas. That's how we create characters. But even though Baron here was being a badass and using his big moves, the only way Murphy ever got any kind of offense in is because the Mysterios, the lovely Mysterios, who I'm supposed to want to spend Christmas dinner with, kept interfering. I mean, what the flub? I mean, Dom and Dad were on the apron, Aaliyah just stood in his way at one point, and during the finish, Dominic grabbed Baron Corbin's leg, and when he turned around, he got kneed right in the face. And then even when Corbin got his foot on the ropes after that, do you know what Dommy Boy did? He grabbed the foot and he chucked it off. The referee didn't see it, so Murphy won, and afterwards, Baron Corbin was livid, and I was livid too. Who wouldn't be? I was like, that guy has just been screwed massively. He just wanted to have a match. Also, he set this match up based on truths that he was saying. It was absolutely baffling. Now, I don't think this was a double turn, but maybe I am wrong, but it does leave us in a very precarious position, because I am going to give it an up, because again, I thought the match was good, and we're also going to give it a tentative down. Now, if you don't know what a tentative down is, I need to see what's going to happen next week, because maybe I don't understand the narrative. You can't jump on these things too quick. But within the bubble and within the context, I don't know what we were trying to get across, aside from the fact I am now incredibly sympathetic towards King Corbin, and I hope next week when they have their rematch, he just beats them all up. I mean, how did we get here? What I will say is that Corbin also said he had some kind of plan to figure this out. So if he comes out with some goons on his own, well, I'd be down for that. But we will wait and see. On a quick side note as well, Corbin versus Murphy is a program I don't ever think I've seen, and that is an absolute plus. We need new, fresh things. Don't crap on it, just enjoy it. We then find out that the chat between Paul Heyman and Adam Pearce was actually to make Jey Uso versus Kevin Owens our main event for the evening. So Adam Pearce is officially just an enabler of death. Apollo Crews was then just hanging out in the back with Big E. And I was like, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. Especially because Sami Zayn came up, he insulted Apollo Crews, because you know, he screwed him over a couple of weeks ago. We've already talked about it. And Big E just went, nah, don't worry about it. And Apollo Crews walked away. Poor Apollo Crews. He's not allowed to get his revenge. Sorry, man, you had your one match, go to the back of the line. It makes no sense. The guy is really talented, but I don't control any of that. But it does make me laugh. However, with all that said, after we were done with this, Big E started to run down Sami Zayn, and all of this was awesome because I think now Big E is gonna go after the Intercontinental Championship, and I ain't gonna argue with that. Zayn tried to wind him up by saying, man, when was the last time you even held this title? Like 400 million years ago when dinosaurs were running around. And Big E, being the sportsman what he was like, well, look, you've been winning a lot of matches by count out. And Sami Zayn had a great line here when he goes, well, you can pin someone for 3, but I count them out for 10, so my way is better. So he shook Sami Zayn's hand for 10 seconds. And you know what he did when he was shaking? He used his strength, because he's big, his name's Big E, and he just crushed his hand. So yes, this was the most 80s wrestling angle ever, but I am all fine with 80s wrestling angles. This put a smile on my face. It just set them out in their roles. Really enjoyed it. Billie Kay too, we have to make sure that we write a little skit for her every single week, because she was sat with the commentators here, Michael Cole and Corey Graves, as she was showing them her headset, her resume and CV and going, look, One of the points is that I'm really good at talking, so maybe I should sit here and talk with you. And then Michael Cole just looked right to the camera and he did that sign like cut the feed, cut the feed, cut the feed. Billie Kay does this stuff perfectly. Please, please, please put her on my TV every week. Thanks. And it was clearly segment time because we then had another one, but this one was a little bit weird. Carmella was in some setup and she was all like, oh, I'm not gonna dance and jump for people anymore because when I was dancing and jumping, that's when everything went bad. And I was like, was it? She also blamed the people, as all new bad guys do. Just none of it is true. When she was running around with R-Truth, I thought it was great. She then wanted to prove to us that now it was other people that were going to do the jumping and the dancing, and she clicked her fingers, but nothing happened. So she tried it again when a hand came into screen holding champagne, but you could see the jewelry. It said boss. It was Sasha Banks. She threw it in Carmella's face, she beat her up, and she locked in the bank statement. And look, it was all right, but I don't know. It's not really as good as Bayley versus Sasha Banks, and it doesn't really have any justification. Everything Carmella said wasn't true, and therefore I can't buy into it. This one's kind of lost on me. And then WWE has to make things so hard sometimes. It was Kevin Owens versus Jey Uso, and the finish they did was absolutely spot on for the story they were telling, but because we've done it so much, it lacked the impact it would have had otherwise. But even with all that, it is getting it up. They properly attacked each other at the start, which I always really appreciate, because you wouldn't lock up. These two hate each other. The beef has become personal, which is why in around about 2 minutes, they were just being chucked into the steel stairs, and we kept seeing Roman Reigns in the back, and it just gave me the fear that guy scares the living hell out of me. Also, Roman has so much creative control in WWE, he's allowed to watch TV screens like a normal person. He's not standing there like this. There was a great bit where Uso went for a dive, but Kevin Owens caught him and she chucked him into the ring post. But that all of a sudden woke Jey up and he went after Kevin Owens' arm. And that paid off later because KO went for the pop-up powerbomb, but he couldn't because he had a funny limb. It allowed Jey to go for the splash, but Kevin Owens got his knees up and started trying to go for stunners. And I think at this point, Jey Uso realized, oh my gosh, I can't lose. What the hell am I going to do if I go back there and I lose again? So he went out of the ring, he got a steel chair, and he brutalized Kevin Owens. Now again, usually it's like, oh, what a stupid way out of the story. But no, not in this case, because what did Roman Reigns say to Jey Uso a couple of weeks ago? I don't care if you win this match, I just want these people to understand us and give us some respect. And if you've got to beat it into him, that's what you do. Jey Uso has learned. Jey Uso has been utterly corrupted, but my word, it was good to watch. It then got even better though, because it actually pissed Kevin Owens off. So as soon as Jey Uso Rey Mysterio'd this and took his eye off the prize, KO turned this round, he had the steel chair, and now he was beating Jey Uso up with the steel thing. In fact, he got so irate, he looked into the camera, reminded Roman Reigns that he didn't fear him, but also said, and if you ever come round my house, you ain't sitting at the head of the table. I was like, Kevin Owens, what are you doing? He didn't really say that, but what he did do is he went to the announce table and he sat at the head of the table and started screaming that this position was rightfully his. Kevin Owens officially got a death wish. We then cut to Roman Reigns in the back, who honestly looked like he was going to explode. If he had spontaneously combusted here, I'd have gone, yeah, what else could have happened? But Kevin Owens is such a damn good performer. He's kind of been floating through WWE recently, he hasn't had a major storyline, and all of a sudden he feels like an absolute threat to Roman, because he's gone crazy too. This also means that Roman and Owen are now officially feuding, and I am never gonna get mad at that. They will have some tremendous matches. And honestly, SmackDown is just a really good show now. It's just a shame we have to do so many flub finishes. If we got away with that, what a treat it would be. But either way, once again, it is getting it up. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of SmackDown. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE, and watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for watching, and Roman, if you're out there, you're the man, alright? If I said some stuff during this you didn't like, you can come around my house and you can sit at the head of the table, you can sit at the side of the table, you can just have the entire table. Just be Roman, I'll eat outside with the dogs. I'm all good with that. See you soon.